Under Paris is Netflix's newest shark film, which The Guardian claims is one of the best shark films ever made, and the Sydney Morning Herald said that after 50 years we finally have a shark movie that's almost as good as Jaws. Okay, that's a lot to live up to. You've set my expectations, but I will be the judge of that. For those who don't know, judging and reviewing shark movies is my profession. From Deep Blue Sea to the Sharktopus trilogy to the Sharknado franchise, I am your guy, alright? You don't need no other outlet but me for these shark movies. I've got you. So does Under Paris bring something new to the table? Does it dethrone Jaws? To the people that think it does, have you never seen a shark movie before? Holy shit! I'm sorry, language, I'm saying it, alright? I'm passionate, I give a shit, I've watched like everything, I haven't reviewed everything, but I've watched so much my brain is leaking out of my ear with shark movie information. Sharks are my favorite animal, so I have just a wealth of knowledge about sharks in general on top of the movies. So what is this shark movie? Why has it got so much buzz? It's marginally better than a lot of the really crappy shark movies I've talked about in the last couple of years. It's French.
They're French.
The entire movie is in French. Subtitles are required, although there is an English dub, I'm pretty sure. I watched it in French with subtitles. One thing I will give it over all the crappy shark movies I've seen in the last couple of years is that the cinematography by Nicolas Massard is good. It gives it an actual movie quality to it. It has a bit of a movie feel. The editing's not always great. It can make a mess of some of those moments with the sharks attacking and you lose track of what's going on a bit. But it's negligible. It's still tenfold better than a lot of the other crappier ones I've seen. And by crappier ones, I'm talking about movies like The Requin, Beneath the Surface, that other one. But those movies don't set a high bar. If you want to go toe-to-toe with Jaws, you gotta go toe-to-toe with the knowledge that Hooper had on sharks in Jaws.
What kind of shark?
It's a tiger shark.
A what?
They keep calling these sharks Mako sharks, and the models for these CGI sharks are great whites. There's maybe one or two shots that they look like Mako sharks. That's being generous, but they are great white sharks. They later excuse this with that it's a shark that's evolved and become its own thing. That's kind of interesting, alright? How? Why? Not really elaborated on. They kind of deal with trash and pollution at the start of the film. Would be cool if you maybe tied it into that, gave us a reason as to how these sharks have evolved to go into fresh water to then be able to go to Seine in France. I appreciate some of the maturity with how they deal with the sharks. They're not just mindless killers. You can swim with them under the right circumstances. Here's some stock footage of that. They aren't just ruthless eating machines. However, the film kind of flips and flops on a dime with whether they're just gonna kill everybody really quickly or they're not gonna do anything at all. I appreciate when the film tries to hold off just killing people like a slasher film and building up the tension to kills to make them feel more satisfying. It's got some solid stuff, although a lot of the solid stuff is from Jaws. We can't possibly close the Seine down. We're hosting a huge Olympic swimming triathlon thing in the water that we can't swim in. You are not allowed to swim in that water in Seine because it's so toxic apparently. But no, we can't do it. The mayor and Jaws. No, we're not closing the beaches. The summer dollars for 4th of July. It's the same thing. A lot of the good ideas that they're brought straight across. This is a movie that has some good ideas and concepts. However, they're not always entirely fleshed out. The movie feels like it ends at the end of the second act. It doesn't really feel like it has much of a conclusion. The visual effects are kind of hit and miss. It looks like the visual effects supervisor and the director just weren't exactly on the same page for exactly how they were going to do some of the shots that they were going to do. So sometimes it looks good, sometimes it's a bit of a miss, sometimes it makes you laugh, which it probably shouldn't, but it does. Like a lot of shark movies, there's a lot of stuff borrowed from Jaws. There's a net that the shark goes through at one point with a bunch of like little boys on top of the net that are all yellow and it looks like barrels moving through the water as like a little homage. I think the artillery shells in the Seine are a cool idea, however it just quickly gets overshadowed by how bonkers and off the wall this movie wants to go. I sound very negative when I'm talking about this film. And again, a lot of it's the expectations going in that have very much made me feel deflated. And it's not the movie itself, but the general consensus of what everyone thinks are around and outside of the film. From what I'm seeing, I am hearing overwhelmingly positive, like this is it. And I'm more frustrated with those people because this is not it. I don't know what the hell to say. If you want a shark movie that is scary as balls and is the best shark movie next to Jaws, if you want the second best, I highly recommend The Reef. If it shows up, The Reef. If you want a scary one, it's a thriller. Not just because it's Australian, it actually is. I've got a review on it, although I think I filmed it on a phone, so I don't know how well that held up. But The Reef, however, if you don't want something super scary and super serious like that, and you want something a little bit more fun and a little lighthearted, kind of how this one has it has some silly moments in it. Deep Blue Sea is always there. You got Sam Jackson. You can't go wrong with that jump scare.
We're gonna seal off this.
Otherwise, this is an okay shark movie. I feel like I'm bashing it, and I really don't want to. If you're someone that's made this, I think that this is the best shark film that's ever took place in France. It is marginally better than a lot of other shark movies I've seen recently, but it doesn't make it really good or great. If you're bored on a rainy night and you've got nothing else to watch and you're okay with a movie that takes its time to build to some of its moments, sure, chuck on Under Paris. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10. It's definitely different, for sure. It builds and builds and builds and builds, and then kind of goes bonkers for 5 minutes at the end, and then it doesn't feel like you really have an ending. So if that's what you're up for, sure, go for it. Otherwise, subscribe if you want to follow the one guy that really knows what he's talking about when it comes to his shark movies, both good and dumb. When we reach 1,000 subscribers, I will be doing an entire Blu-ray movie collection. I will be pulling apart everything. I'll show you everything I've got, every shark movie I've got, although I need more. I don't know why I don't have more. I have like Mega Shark versus Giant Octopus, but I don't have Deep Blue Sea. We gotta do some sorting. Otherwise, if you've made it to the end of the video, you're a bloody legend, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Bye guys.